More than 172,000 planned layoffs were announced last month. It was the highest February total since the Great Recession 16 years ago.
During the Great Recession, my wife faced a devastating layoff. Fear gripped us, but God stepped in and He gave her a sound mind and ultimately unlocked an incredible business mind. And this is how. The key to going from fear to a sound mind was Philippians chapter 4, verse 6 through 7. Fear has a tendency to cloud your judgment, distort your perception, and prevent you from seeing clearly. That's why she applied the principles in these verses. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your heart and minds in Christ Jesus. See, this intentional application of being anxious for nothing is where we have to begin. And in order to not be anxious, we first have to accept where we are, while detaching from the fear of potential outcomes, and take those outcomes and surrender those outcomes to God, because He can solve any problem. Next thing we need to do with thanksgiving is make sure our request, which is our needs, our concerns, our desires, we've got to make sure that they're made known to God. This allows us to get the fears off of us and to transfer them up to God. Now, for my wife, her request wasn't just to dwell on what just happened. It was to understand how to prevent this from happening again. She didn't want to be defined by what just happened to her, but she wanted to find a path of security and purpose. This request, it led her down a path of entrepreneurship, a journey of learning how to take control and take advantage of the opportunities that God was providing. It was a proactive desire to build a more secure future. We all have similar requests, whether it's financial security or financial independence. But just like her, we can take our request to God because we know that He hears us. So by surrendering her fears and making sure her request was known to God, God did His part, and He gave her a peace that surpasses all understanding. Now, God's peace that surpasses all understanding, that means that this transcends our normal requirement for it to have to be tied to a favorable situation. So not only does that peace not have to be tied to a favorable outcome, but when God gives it, it shields our emotions and our mental state from taking any further damage because of anxiety, which creates this perfect environment for a sound mind. See, numerous studies support the connection between reduced stress and anxiety and an improved cognitive performance. So basically, when your emotions are no longer attacking your mental processing, you can have a sound mind, which means you're capable of using good judgment to make wise decisions. So whether it's the layoffs or the fear of the next recession, what began as a moment of fear was later transformed into a journey of faith and entrepreneurship. So by surrendering our anxieties and trusting in God's guidance, we discovered a peace and a clarity that we never thought was even possible. And that path is available to you too.